Good morning. I am Reshma. Today I am here to teach a topic for the class BA B.Ed third year Pedagogy of English. In our previous video, we were discussing what is the aim of education. The aim of education is to bring the learning in the students, for which the teacher has to undergo the three main phases, which are planning, execution, and how to teach. For that, the teacher has to follow some main objectives. The objectives are the desired goal or the outcome for which an instruction is aimed. And then we had discussed the objectives of teaching English at a junior and senior level. Now, in this video, we will be discussing the various principles involved in teaching English as a second language. Now, there are many principles. A few important ones are psychological principle, linguistic principles, and pedagogical principles. Psychological principles are based on the psychology of the child. Linguistic principles which are based on the language, and the pedagogical principles are the way you have to follow the language. So, coming to the first one, psychological principles. Before we start, let us have a small introduction. The teachers are exposed to constant barrage of methodologies that promise to improve both instructions and strategies and the students' learning through institute, team meetings, seminars, and media. So, this is how the teachers are following or using the methods of teaching, that is through institute days, which means going to schools, attending meetings, seminars, and medias, etc. Some information is helpful and some are more effective also. So, this affects the psychology of the teachers. And here, education in school is based on the cognitive, psychometers, media, counseling, and clinical psychology. So, these are the different types of psychology. Each of the contributors have some expertises in the application of psychological science to early childhood, that is small children, elementary children below class 5, then secondary, that is students above class 9 to 12th, and then gifted or special education, social and emotional learning, and the school climate, etc. These principles are organized into 5 areas of psychological functioning. Now, cognition. Cognition is the mental development of the child, which includes thinking, remembering, learning, using the language, etc. So, here cognition, learning, motivation, social and emotional dimensions, context, learning, assessment, etc. All these include the psychological functioning of the child. Each of the individual principles listed have a different separate concept. To name a few psychological principles, there are around 8 of them which are more important to be learned. What the students think and they learn. So, a great deal of research from Cognitive and Educational Society has discovered how thinking and learning can be improved in the classroom. The first 8 principles highlight the most important findings on teacher practices and the impact of student growth. So, the first one is growth mindset. Students' beliefs or perceptions about intelligence and ability affect their cognitive functioning and learning. So, here the research shows that learners who hold the growth mindset, that intelligence and success is related to effort, are more likely to remain focused on goals and they despite different setbacks. That is, those who think that growth mindset and intelligence and success are related, they have great focus on goals. So, a great way to start off the year in the psychology class is with the discussion of growth versus fixed mindset. That is, growth versus fixed mindset, because it helps the students to understand how their beliefs about intelligence can influence their own academic success. For information about fixed growth and mindset and how they impact their performance, there was a talk and discussion how students' learning can be examined in the context of motivation and illustrates how the personal portrait, which is correlated with success, and it can be developed through teaching of a growth mindset. That is, the first and very important thing is you should have a proper mindset. In addition to numerous specific ideas, the growth mindset should be a foster thing for the student. Here, growth mindset is you should have a proper mindset. Like when a student is going to the next class, he is promoted, he grows, his mind also grows or it develops. So he should have that in his mind that I am going to my next class and I have to study a more amount of books, big chapters, big question answers, and he should have a fixed mindset. Next point is prior knowledge, that is previous knowledge. What students already know also affects learning a lot. Here, research shows that the prior knowledge or the previous knowledge influences both conceptual knowledge, conceptual growth, and the change in students. That is, if they have a previous knowledge, it brings good growth and change in the students. With conceptual growth, students add to their existing knowledge, and with conceptual change, students correct misconceptional errors in the existing knowledge. It means if they have prior knowledge or previous knowledge, they can increase that knowledge, and if they have some change, they can, or any misconceptions, they can correct their errors of the existing knowledge. Facilitating conceptual growth or change requires first obtaining a baseline level of students knowing prior to the start of each unit through formative assessment. So, this is why assessments or formative assessments are taken to judge the baseline or the previous knowledge of the students. So, in one way to assess previous knowledge involves starting the unit with a short list of 5 to 10 true or false statements and having the class discussion about the results, which will help us to judge our students properly. The results में prior knowledge will help us to incorporate the background knowledge and draw connections between the units during the courses. So that is why the previous knowledge helps the students a lot in their developmental activities. So, these were the two important psychological principles we shall discuss about the limits of the stage theories and the other principles in our next video. Thank you.